Hello, my name is Danny Richards. This morning I'd like to talk to you about the history of the marimba and just where it originates from and some of the different ways it has been constructed and remodeled in the past century. Its origin is a little muddled according to various researchers and historians. A lot of influence has come from South Africa during the time of slavery when slaves were brought over to Cuba and Central America regions. They had their own marimba called the Yolote, which had around 16 to 21 pitched bars. Their way of tuning was not as we see it today, where it's chromatic like a piano, but instead it was diatonic, ranging from C to C above. And for however many octaves they included in that instrument. In Guatemala, they include the marimba as a large part of their culture and their history. With their independence from Spain, they played lots of marimba music, and they've always seen it as a true trait and value to their culture, passing it down from father to son, learning how to play this beautiful instrument. Their primitive design was from gourd marimbas, where the resonators were made of gourds hung or attached to the bars to create a better sound. In other regions of Central America, there were other primitive marimbas. You can see on the screen there's a diatonic scale that has a single trough resonator below it. These were before they created individual resonators tuned according to each bar. They just used a single trough for more generic combined sound. And as they progressed, they discovered they could amplify each bar with another resonator tuned according to it. And also in this picture below, there's a man from Guatemala with a marimba. Their construction as well, as we see today, are mounted on wheels, and we're able to move them around easily. Many cultures, it was a portable instrument. It was a little more arched, and they would strap it on their back and walk from place to place and mount it on either a pitched fork or some very small makeshift stands, and where they would sit for most of the time. So it's very different between the way we have produced it now as a standing performance instrument and a very casual, laid back, just fun-loving music. Here we have just a picture of the crafting and design that people from Guatemala put into it. Lots of bright colors. They don't use any metal in their handiwork. They kind of see it, that takes away from the whole art of it. Lots of inlay designed by hand in different colors. We're going to get into the different resonators that they have on the bottom. So there's a few different types of resonators depending what culture you are from or what area in Guatemala. For that instrument you saw in the last slide, they're spiked crystal looking resonators. The reason for doing it, I think, is more of an aesthetic appeal, just how it looks, but also creates a wonderful sound too. In North America, we have the cylindrical metal pipes, and in both instances they are tuned according to each pitch that the bar is as well. And for the tuning of the bars, if you can see in the picture, there's a little arc under each bar, and for a lower pitch you would shave more in the middle of that bar. So if you take a look at, say, a low A on a marimba, you'll see that it's very thin for the majority of the bar, and when you get to the sides it's much thicker, and that's why the bars on the higher end of the marimba are very thick and require a lot more strength to play to produce a really loud sound. Today's marimba range from 4 octaves to 5.5. In many cases in Guatemala and South Africa, they created marimbas that were 6 octaves, much larger, but they created an arc for more accessibility and more players to join them, as it was a group and community thing. Nowadays in our culture, Most bars are made of rosewood, which is very durable and very resonant with the type of mallets that we use. Nowadays, there's also using fiberglass. Even though it isn't wood, it is very durable and creates a good enough sound for outdoor performances, such as in marching band contexts. Again, go back to resonators. They're made from aluminum piping, as opposed to bamboo or clay or other forms of natural materials. Here's just a few photos of today's marimbas. These are 4-octave and a 5.5 octave. You can see that the resonators are hung suspended below the bars, and it's set up in a keyboard texture that we have today. Just like to conclude this presentation, and thank you for listening.